Auburn, this is Mayor Ron Anders coming to you with the mayor's minutes following our January 22nd meeting of 2019. During the committee of the whole last night, we had a discussion about the process for approving a city manager's contract and compensation. Right now, our ordinance allows the mayor to have the primary responsibility for that task. Councilman Kelly Griswold asked us to have a discussion about the role of the council and that going forward into the future. So we will add that to the agenda for the Committee of the Whole in our first meeting in February. As we look into our agenda last night, in the consent agenda, a couple of things I would bring to your attention. One is the roundabout at North College in Farmville. This has been widely discussed for over a year now, and maybe even longer than that. There have been a couple of public meetings, and once again, we thank the good people at Farmville Baptist for hosting a meeting later in 2018. But AlDOT's solution to this problem was to build a roundabout, and that's the solution that they have offered. This is their intersection, North College is their road. And so last night we considered an endorsement, a resolution that endorses this project to move ahead and move forward, with one change is that we would strongly ask them to consider lowering the speed limit on North College from 55 to 45 miles an hour for the entirety of that road. North College is changing. It is not the county road, the state road of our past with very little traffic. It is widely traveled on a daily basis of people going to school, going to work, going shopping, and just living their daily lives. This intersection has become dangerous and has become the scene of many unfortunate accidents. The council ended up endorsing this last night and passing this resolution. I would say to you as your mayor, and once again I'm speaking to you as the mayor, each of you have city council representatives that represent you, and I'm not necessarily speaking for them, but as the mayor of this community, I believe it's my responsibility to make this community as safe as it can be. There will always be a debate whether a roundabout versus a traditional light is the most efficient way for people to travel in and out of their intersection. And what I can tell you, and I'm not an engineer, but what I can tell you is that doing something is better than doing nothing. And it's my intent to make Auburn a safer place to live and to travel in. And I firmly believe that the roundabout there will save lives and save us from having unfortunate accidents as Auburn continues to grow and more people live in that corridor and near that corridor into the future. So we look forward to AlDOT providing that roundabout. It'll take a couple of years. It will not happen immediately, but you will probably begin to see the work here in the next 12 months. We also purchased some shelving equipment for the Auburn Library, and I was blessed yesterday to go by the library and receive a tour from Chris Warren, our library director. Great things are going on at the Auburn Public Library. Did you know in 2018 over 173,000 visitors went to the Auburn Library? Did you know in 2018 that the library conducted over 1,000 programs that 33,000 people attended? Did you know that in 2018 over 600,000 sessions of using the public Wi-Fi occurred in our public library? And also in 2018 over 450,000 books, audiobooks, DVDs, or ebooks were checked out from the Auburn Public Library. The Auburn Public Library has become a great resource for this community, and they asked last night for us to purchase some additional shelving, some shelving on casters that they could move around for programs. And so we did approve that, and we will spend $20,000 adding some shelving because they need to add more books and more inventory to what they offer our community. We also purchased some fire alerting equipment for fire stations 4 and 5, and this will make our fire professionals more efficient and quicker out the door when they're needed. They will not have to turn off the lights, turn off the oven, lift things, do things. They can get in their vehicles, their trucks, and go take care of us. And so we approved that purchase last night, and we'll be looking at additional purchase related to fire alerting equipment as we move forward with the Public Safety Center opening, the fire station headquarters opening later on this year. And we also approved a contract with the UniFirst Corporation, who provides uniforms for approximately 170 of our employees, and also the janitorial supplies for the city of Auburn. Moving on to ordinances, last night there was an ordinance that was withdrawn, and that was a rezoning of some property out on Wire Road, Conway Acres property near Auburn's soccer complex. This property was denied its annexation and rezoning by the Planning Commission, but it was coming forth to the council for a final determination. The applicant chose to withdraw this. And so we'll see what happens into the future, but as of last night, this has been formally withdrawn for consideration. There was two annexations that we approved last night, one on Bud Black Road and one on Stonewall Road and Heath Road. These were, if you could say, enclaves in the city where they were surrounded by at least three sides of city property. And so we brought this into the city. That constituted about 70 total acres. They were annexed in the city, they were not rezoned. So they've been brought into the city as a rural designation, which means one house per 3 acres. And then there was a land swap of some property that was in the county versus property that was in the city, and we just swapped property for a small development that'll be going on in the county. And it was more of an administrative action that took place. And then we gave a conditional use approval to a property on 336 East Thatch Avenue that is functioning now as a duplex, housing college students. They're going to do some renovations and a small addition. So instead of housing 6 college students, it will house 8 college students. This was approved by the Planning Commission and was ultimately approved by the City Council last night. Moving ahead, and that concluded our agenda last night. One of our shorter meetings. I want to remind everybody that our Student Housing Task Force will kick off its work next Tuesday, January 29th at 4:15. That is a task force that has many members of our private sector involved, universities, students, our Planning Commission, elected officials, and we'll begin to look at all things student housing as we move into the future. We're excited about the universities evaluating their strategic plan that they'll be offering to the Board of Trustees next month, and with that will give us some ideas and some certainty of what Auburn University's plans are for enrollment and student housing into the future. Short-Term Rentals Task Force held a public hearing last week on January the 17th. I appreciate Bob Parsons and Brett Smith for their leadership. It was a well-attended public hearing, had many people stand up and talk. And I believe we've got a path to take now to move forward with some plans into the future. But I would say this to you, the public. There's still time for you to weigh in. You can go to the city's website and let people know how you feel about this, and it will be recorded and will certainly be given to the elected officials and the task force leadership as to how you feel about short-term rentals in the future. Ultimately, I believe the City Council will be looking at an ordinance that will be voted on. That will include a public hearing. I believe there might even be another public hearing for outside of a City Council meeting that will occur before that. All that to say to you, our public, that there will be a number of opportunities for you to weigh in, continue to weigh in on where we move forward with short-term rentals. So please do not sit back and not be happy that you didn't say something about this. Tell us how you feel. This will be a big decision that we need to make on behalf of our community moving forward. The Diversity Task Force is continuing its work. We're continuing to meet with different groups in and around the city, and we'll be adding people to our task force and look forward to the continued work of the Diversity Task Force into the future. And I want to remind everybody that the Polar Plunge is this Saturday. There is a rumor that there will be some elected officials participating in this, but this is a great fundraiser for our Special Olympics, and they do great work in our community. So if you don't have anything to do Saturday morning, get you a warm cup of coffee, put your jacket on, and watch some crazy people do good for our community by jumping in the pool at the East Sanford School. And finally, I want to remind everybody that, the position to fill the term of Tracy West on our school board is now open. And Tracy's term would end in May, so we are looking for somebody not only to fill her term, but to serve a full term after that. So it's available now for you to apply to that. If you feel like you're called to be a part of our school board and would like to apply for that position, now's the time for you to turn your application in. We'll be drawing down finalists for that in the near future, and interviews are set for February the 12th. with an appointment to be made at the March 5th meeting. To fill out an application for the Auburn City School Board, go to auburnalabama.org/boards. You have until 5 p.m. on February the 4th to fill that application out. This is Ron Anders for the Mayor's Minutes on January 22nd, 2019 meeting. Y'all have a good week.